throw your sword down. Hand to hand. Okay, you're pushing on me, and I'm going to be pushing a little bit on you. We're going to start moving around. One of us is going to lead, the other one's going to follow. At any point, the person leading is going to be changing directions and stopping. So if I'm coming back this way, you're supposed to be keeping on to me. Okay? And at any point, if I start moving backwards, for example, quickly, right, I might be coming here, keep up with it, right? I might stop and start pushing back. At that point, when you stop and you start pushing back, you can change leaders. Okay? From that point, stay on your opponent. Okay? You should always, anytime you end or your opponent stops pushing, you should never be in a position where him pushing or stopping is going to set you off balance or off guard. So if we're moving around here, you know, and I step like this and he pushes, I'm going to be in trouble. You're not actually trying to push your opponent over onto his ass in this kind of a drill, but keep in mind where you're fighting or where you're doing the drill, because it can often happen. A little bit of an expansion on that, if you grab your sword, is basically the same idea. Cross your weapons and then move around. Okay.
The objective being to keep the weapon on weapon?
The objective is to keep the weapon on the weapon.
Okay.
Stay on your opponent. Let your opponent try and get off at the same time that, you know, whoever's leading is trying to stay off their opponent. The other guy's trying to close the distance or stay on. So those kinds of footwork drills are going to be very valuable for two-handed weapon fighters. See, if you're doing it with a shieldman, allow the shieldman to lead a little bit and allow him to push you around. One of the things that we have a disadvantage as far as something like FCA fighting, I like it because it's a lot more realistic. The shieldman can push back. They can't take their edge and shove their edge into your grill, but they can push you around quite a bit with their shield, and they generally don't hesitate to do so. So, if you've got a shieldman that you can work with that's fairly quick on his feet, yep, go ahead. Work off of it. Allow your shieldman into a position that is not very good for you to be in, and then work up. Okay? That footwork is going to be what basically saves your life. Keeping that, doing it with a shieldman is very good. If you can get a shieldman moving around like that, that's often where you can kind of get those sniping shots that really work well. If you have superior footwork, you're going to go a lot farther. Most shieldmen rely much more on their shield than they do on their footwork. Generally, they can't chase you like that. And when they do, they usually start to develop a lot of bad habits. The things that you want to look for, which shieldmen should be aware of not doing, is this kind of running forward stance. As you start moving, your shield will start getting lower and lower, and you can get it to the point after 10 seconds where you've got your shield all the way down here, especially if you start throwing those low shots as you're doing it. If you can start retreating backwards or around the side, throwing those low shots, you'll find the shield starts to drop as they run faster to try and catch you. So that's where your footwork and your movement around the pel, around your opponent, will let you take those two low shots and then come over and hit them on the offside of the head.
I tend to watch for shieldmen who step from behind their shield.
Yes.
As that front leg comes out, they tend to rotate their body and pull the shield back, and that leg just sticks out. Really meaty target. You can put a lot into that. With not a lot of risk to yourself, which I like to.
The quick shots that are fairly safe, generally I tell people don't go for leg shots too much against a shieldman. If you have a fairly superior length blade, you have certain options there that aren't going to exist in a less equal sized blade. These teardrop shields are a lot more difficult because they extend so low, but again, they're very light. You can possibly power through them, especially if you're moving around a lot. And even these ones, these high shots over here, followed by that low leg shot right there.
He steps out.
That's a really nice, usually fairly unarmored, meaty back section of the calf. It's really special when you can get a guy with a shield chasing you and you hit him there.
It makes the boiled potato noise. It's really good.
Yeah, it generally is followed by or something to that effect.
You heard that? No. You ever shoved a boiled potato up a donkey's ass? It sounds like this. It's like that. That's the noise. It's kind of a soul crunching. Oh my God! It's a rabbit brain thing. It's really
So
How do you know it makes this sound?
science. If you shove a boiled potato up a donkey's ass, he makes that sound.
Yeah, I was wondering how you found that out.
You just got to experiment.
probably.
I'm gonna do the science night Thursdays.
Yeah, you should come.
No cameras allowed, but it's
Yeah, but it's really good. Almadina has really advanced scientists. That's why we're being Arabs.
On the same token, those fading shots can be an incredible advantage, especially when the shieldman is committed to a line. Now, just a little bit more on some lines. Here.
Actually, once you use the big line, you can't cross
This is a big line. If I combine this with some pretty fancy footwork, I can go from here and I can step around here and change his distance. Even if he doesn't move from this position here, this shot isn't going to land, whereas this shot is. Okay, you see the distance and the length. To make that more extreme, I can do that from back here. I'm nowhere near him, but just half a step in with that rotation, as he moves forward, that's the back of his head. Okay? So when you've got those guys that are from out here, they're the real gung-ho shieldmen that aren't going to give that bastard sword a chance, this is where your reactive stance is going to come in. Especially if you have a lower guard and you're very ready for it. You're in a lower forward stance. I like to put about 60% of my weight on my front foot, 40% on the back. In doing so, I don't actually have to shift my weight anywhere to take a step. Okay? If I want to move in, I just simply pick up my foot and place it where I want it to go. All right? Same idea. I don't have to make a movement in my body to step backwards. I just simply go back to where I want to be. Does that kind of make sense? Okay? If you're in a taller, higher stance, if I want to make a movement, I have to start by shifting my weight onto the foot that's going to provide it with the power, and then taking the step. That's going to slow it down, and it's going to give a visual cue to your opponent. If you can make your step without moving your body anywhere else, i.e. from here, if I can just simply fall forward and throw the shot, that's going to provide me with a speed advantage that wasn't there if I had to actually shift my weight over and make a full step. Okay? Same kind of idea. If I want to hit him in the side of the head, I just simply have to more or less decide where I need to be to do that. If you don't move, if I need to be over here, I just simply need to step into there. Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't expecting you to.
No, that protects me. It's okay.
As you step over, that shot becomes available, and you'll find yourself traveling into range and back out of it in a single movement. Okay? So as we start, we're outside of range. I step over and throw that shot. I'm still outside of his range, but I made my movement and I hit him. Or I hit his shield, or I otherwise distracted him. Okay? Those are the only kinds of opportunities that you should be looking for things like sniping leg shots. Okay? If we're down here, and I'm up here, and he's got his shield really high up, and I'm like, ooh, there's a juicy leg shot. Don't take it. That's a really bad idea. It's not going to end well for you. Okay? But if you're up here in a high stance and he starts charging in, and I can come over and make that shot right into the back of the knee or into the back of the thigh, those are the ones that really put a bruise on that you usually kind of get a substantial off of.
I've seen you do that.
They work really well. They're really meaty
Not
shots.
to me, but I've
And I'm not a big fan, I know, Avalok will probably disagree, I'm not a really big fan on that instant pain that you cause your opponent. Sometimes it's necessary. I like to hit your opponent in a really meaty section because generally they're not very well armored. They don't really do anything, you know, the guy can walk it off after, 30 seconds, but that instant Charlie horse will usually end the fight. Even if he doesn't call it substantial, he's probably going to be slower than he should be for the next couple of steps. So, you can make the same kind of movement going the other way. I'm not a big fan of the stance, but I saw a guy win a squire's tourney with a sword a little bit bigger than that one over there. All he did...
Shay?
What?
Was Shay or who was it?
No, this was when it was up here.
His name was Aaron, I
Is
think?
this the armpit thing?
Adrian? Adrian was his name.
Okay.
It wasn't even a very good stance or move, but all he had was this massive sword that he held in this really awkward position up here. And he would start, he had the advantage because the tournament was in a large field and it was just kind of open fighting. So he had lots of room to run around. He would start off about here and he'd hold it up and he'd kind of take a couple of slow steps in and his opponent would start charging. All he would do is lean over and hit that shot and that was it. And standing on the sidelines, it was pretty incredible to watch because none of the other squires were paying attention to what was going on. They were all off fighting their own fights. He would just stand there and a shieldman would say, oh, there's an easy target there. And he would just kind of go like this and they would run in and he would hit him on the side of the head. And he'd kind of wander off while they went to report and somebody else would wander up and he went like this and hit him on the side of the head. That was the only move he had, but he won by a very substantial margin because of that one quick little shot.
Works great when you kill every opponent.
Yeah.
It doesn't work so great when they keep coming back and they know what you're going to do.
Yes.